Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a journey behind the velvet ropes of global superstardom where the lights are bright, but the reality is delightfully unpolished. When we think of BTS, images of absolute perfection flood our minds: sold-out stadiums in Los Angeles, pristine speeches at the United Nations, and choreography so sharp and synchronized, it seems to defy the very laws of physics. They are the 7 untouchable princes of pop, draped in designer suits and glowing with an aura of flawless diligence. But have you ever paused to wonder, what happens when the cameras finally stop rolling? What does the aftermath of world domination actually look like inside the private, unguarded 4 walls of their shared living space? Today, we are not looking at their Billboard achievements or their Grammy nominations. We are zooming in on the pile of clothes left on the floor, the unwashed dishes in the sink, and the members who would practically hibernate for days if given the chance. We are about to unravel a hilarious, deeply human, and surprisingly relatable hierarchy. The top 7 BTS members ranked by their legendary untidiness and their profound love for lethargy. Who is the member that once turned their room into a chaotic museum of scattered collectibles? Who famously confessed to hating showers after a long day of practice? Is it the energetic youngest, or perhaps the supposedly composed leader? You might think you know their habits from variety shows, but the reality of their dorm life is a comedy of errors that proves even the biggest idols on earth are just messy boys at heart. Prepare to have your perception of idol perfection shattered in the most entertaining way possible as we dig into the dust bunnies of history. Who sits on the throne of laziness? Who wears the crown of chaos? The answers might just shock you. Let's dive into the glorious mess. Number 7. J-Hope. The absolute antithesis of mess. The human sanitizer who keeps chaos at bay. To understand the depths of chaos, one must first establish the pinnacle of order, and that is why sitting comfortably at the bottom of our list, making him the absolute least dirty and least lazy member of the group, is none other than Jungkook, the radiant son of BTS known to the world as J-Hope. While the topic of today's investigation is the grit and grime of dormitory life, placing J-Hope anywhere near the concept of laziness or dirtiness would be a factual error of catastrophic proportions, akin to saying the sun is cold or the ocean is dry. In the grand ecosystem of the BTS dorms, which has evolved from a cramped single room to luxurious Hannum-the-Hill suites, J-Hope has consistently functioned as the immune system of the group, fighting off the bacteria of disorder with a relentless, rhythmic precision that mirrors his world-class dancing. If you look back at the historical archives of their reality shows like American Hustle Life or Bon Voyage, you begin to notice a pattern that is as fascinating as it is terrifying. While other members are losing passports, leaving clothes in piles that resemble modern art installations of despair, or sleeping through 3 consecutive alarms, J-Hope is already awake, showered, and organizing his belongings into geometric perfection. He is not just clean, he is clinically organized, a man who treats his living space with the same respect he treats a stage at Wembley Stadium. Let's dive deep into the psychology of this behavior because it is truly captivating. J-Hope is the dance leader, the one who memorizes every beat and angle, and this discipline bleeds seamlessly into his domestic life. There is no off switch for his diligence. When the members finish a meal, and the lethargy of a food coma sets in for the others, prompting them to leave dishes in the sink to soak for an indefinite amount of time, J-Hope is the one you see in the background of the footage, silently scrubbing plates, wiping counters, and restoring equilibrium to the universe. It's almost a compulsion for him. In the Soup, while others were embracing the concept of doing absolutely nothing, J-Hope was seen constantly tidying up, folding clothes that weren't even his, and ensuring that their temporary vacation home didn't descend into a pigsty. His bed is a sacred space. You will rarely, if ever, see J-Hope's bed unmade or covered in the detritus of daily life, unlike some of the members we will discuss later, who treat their beds as dining tables and laundry baskets combined. The other members have gone on record multiple times, with RM famously stating that J-Hope is the second leader of the group, specifically because he manages the household atmosphere and keeps their lifestyle in check. Imagine living with 6 other boys who are constantly exhausted, hungry, and prone to leaving towels on the floor. J-Hope is the designated nagger, the mother figure who scolds them into hygiene. But it's not just about cleaning. It's about his energy levels, which directly contradicts the lazy label. The man is a perpetual motion machine. Even on his days off, he is planning, shopping with a purpose, or working on music. Laziness is a foreign language to him. Do you remember the sheer shock on his face whenever he walks into a messy room? His expression isn't just annoyance, it is visceral pain, a physical rejection of clutter. He once mentioned in an interview that a clean space equals a clear mind, and if that is the metric, J-Hope's mind is a crystal palace. He is the control variable in this experiment, the standard of hygiene against which all other members are measured. He effectively ruins the curve for everyone else because he proves that it is possible to be a global superstar, practice for 12 hours a day, and still have the energy to hang up your jacket properly instead of throwing it on a chair. So, as we move forward into the murky waters of the members who actually embrace the mess, remember J-Hope. Remember him as the beacon of hope, the guardian of the vacuum cleaner, and the only member who would likely faint if he saw the state of the rooms belonging to the members topping this list. He is number 7, not because he lacks character, but because in a contest of dirtiness and laziness, he is the only one who disqualified himself by being absolutely, undeniably, and beautifully perfect in his habits. The transition from his pristine world to the next member is going to be a steep drop, so hold on to your cleaning supplies because we are leaving the sanctuary of J-Hope's cleanliness and taking our first step down into the reality of normal, messy human boys. Number 6. Jin, the visual god who scrubs the floors, the nagging hygiene inspector with a gaming addiction. If J-Hope is the energetic son that sanitizes everything with a smile, then our number 6 is the frantic, scolding mother hen who keeps the household from collapsing under the weight of its own chaos, earning him the spot of the second least dirty and lazy member, the one, the only, worldwide handsome, Kim Seokjin. Placing Jin at number 6 is a testament to the fact that while he may vocally champion the art of doing absolutely nothing, his actions tell a completely different story of domestic diligence and hygiene obsession that rivals even the most professional housekeepers. To understand Jin's place in this hierarchy, we have to look past his self-proclaimed desire to stay in bed for 24 hours playing MapleStory and look at the reality of his role as the Mathyung, or the eldest brother in a house full of rowdy boys. For years, especially in their earlier cramped dorms, Jin was the primary chef and the guardian of the kitchen, and anyone who knows anything about cooking knows that you cannot maintain a functional kitchen if you are dirty or lazy. The legend of Eat Jin isn't just about him devouring delicious food, it's built on a foundation of him waking up early to prepare meals. Remember the famous seaweed soup for members' birthdays? And, crucially, cleaning up the disastrous aftermath. There is a specific visceral horror that Jin expresses when he encounters a mess, which we have seen documented in countless Bangtan Bomb episodes. Do you recall the way he scolds RM? It's not just playful banter. It is the genuine frustration of a man who values a pristine environment living with a god of destruction. Jin has gone on record stating he has dust allergies, which adds a biological imperative to his cleanliness. He physically cannot afford to be dirty. His room, often revealed in snippets or described by members, is a sanctuary of order, filled with his beloved gaming setups and Mario figures, but always arranged with a meticulous care that suggests he dusts them off individually. Now, let's address the laziness factor, because this is where Jin becomes a complex character worthy of a psychological deep dive. Yes, Jin loves to project an image of a man who would happily merge with his mattress. He famously brought a pillow to a waiting room so he could lie down on the floor, and his ideal vacation in Bon Voyage usually involves finding the nearest comfortable surface and staying there. However, this is a calculated lethargy. It is not the laziness of neglect, it is the efficient resting of a man who pushes himself to the limit during dance practice. When it comes to hygiene and living standards, his laziness vanishes instantly. He is the type of person who might complain loudly about having to move, but he will be the first one to wash the dishes because he simply cannot stand the sight of grease congealing on a pan. In the Soup, we saw him waking up at the crack of dawn, not to laze around, but to cook, to fish, and to manage the campsite. He is a man of action, disguised as a slacker. His laziness is a hobby, not a lifestyle trait. He treats gaming with the discipline of an Olympian, sitting for hours not because he is slothful, but because he is dedicated to leveling up a different kind of hard work. Furthermore, his fashion sense in the dorm's often matching silk pajamas screams luxury leisure, not slob. A slob wears stained sweatpants. Jin wears high-end sleepwear because even in his downtime he maintains a standard of elegance. We also have to talk about his role in the laundry wars. While Jungkook is the scent-obsessing fairy, Jin is the practical logistician who ensures things actually get done. He has often been the voice of reason, the one shouting, "Who left this here?" echoing through the hallways of their massive apartment. He fights the entropy of the universe with a spatula in one hand and a vacuum in the other. If he were truly lazy, he would have abdicated his role as the caretaker years ago, letting the younger members fend for themselves in a jungle of takeout boxes. But he didn't. He raised Jungkook, he fed the rap line, he managed the vocal line. You cannot do that if you are prone to living in filth. Jin represents the functional adult tier of BTS, the person who might want to be lazy, who dreams of a world where dishes wash themselves, but who possesses the maturity and the hygiene standards to do the dirty work anyway. He is the bridge between the pristine J-Hope and the chaos that ensues further down this list. He is clean not just for himself, but for the survival of the group. So, do not be fooled by his whining or his love for lying down. Kim Seokjin is a pillar of cleanliness, a warrior against dust, and a man who proves that you can be a global icon, a dedicated gamer, and a domestic god all at the same time. He is number 6, because while he may not have the robotic, infinite cleaning energy of J-Hope, he is miles, light years, even away from the true kings of mess that we are about to encounter. He is the last line of defense, the final stronghold of order before we descend into the hilarious, relatable, and slightly shocking habits of the remaining 5 members. He is the clean Hyung who just wants a break, and frankly, after seeing what he has to put up with, he deserves every second of that nap. Number 5. Suga, the genius who dreams of reincarnating as a rock, the master of strategic lethargy and unexpected domesticity. We have explored the realm of the hyper-clean and the dutifully diligent, but now we cross a significant threshold in our ranking, moving from those who do to the one member who famously prefers not to. Coming in at number 5 is the enigma, the paradox, the man who works harder than anyone in the studio, yet expends less caloric energy than a hibernating bear in the dorms. Min Yoongi, globally worshipped as Suga. Placing Suga in the middle of this list requires a nuanced understanding of 2 very different words: lazy and dirty. If this list were solely about the desire to remain motionless for eternity, Suga would be undisputed. Number 1, crowned the Emperor of Sleep, sitting on a throne of pillows. However, he falls to number 5 because, shockingly, he is incredibly hygienic and domestically competent. Let's dissect the legend of Grandpa Yoongi. We are talking about a man who famously uttered the soul-shaking declaration that in his next life, he wants to be born as a rock. This isn't just a joke, it is a philosophy, it is a way of life. In the frantic, high-octane world of Kpop, Suga has mastered the art of energy conservation. Watch any episode of Run BTS, or Bon Voyage. The moment the camera's cut or a break is announced, gravity seems to pull on Suga twice as hard as it does on anyone else. He doesn't sit, he melts. He doesn't lie down, he becomes one with the floor. There is a hilarious, documented history of him sleeping in the most absurd places, curled up backstage on a pile of chairs, dozing off in the middle of a chaotic game, or simply freezing in place like a statue while the other members run wild around him. His laziness is so profound that it has become a character trait beloved by millions. He treats movement as a transaction. Is this motion worth the energy expenditure? If the answer is no, he stays put. But, and this is a massive, documentary-altering but, we must not confuse this lethargy with filth. This is where the Edu-Tainment factor gets fascinating. Despite his sloth-like tendencies when off the clock, Suga is arguably one of the cleanest members of BTS. He does not tolerate grime. You will never hear stories of Suga not showering. In fact, he has expressed a deep dislike for the feeling of sweat, which drives him to the shower immediately after practice. His Genius Lab studio is a sanctuary of expensive equipment, and while it may be cluttered with wires and synthesizers, it is not dirty. Dust does not dare settle on his mixing console. Furthermore, his domestic skills are the stuff of legend, contradicting the lazy narrative in a way that confuses and delights fans. He is the handyman of the group, the one who silently fixes the doorknobs, RM brakes, the one who changes the light bulbs, the one who installs the bidets. A truly lazy person would let the house crumble around them. Suga maintains it with a quiet, grumpy efficiency. And let's talk about cooking. In the Soup and many birthdays prior, Suga is the head chef alongside Jin. Cooking is an inherently active and messy process, yet Suga manages it with the precision of a surgeon. He chops, he seasons, he grills, and he cleans up his station. He does this not because he loves the labor, but because he loves the result, good food, and hates the alternative, bad food or a dirty kitchen. This is strategic laziness. He works hard only on the things that matter to his survival and comfort. The other members have often described him as a tsundere roommate. He acts like he doesn't care, like he can't be bothered to lift a finger, but then you find him silently organizing the refrigerator or nagging the younger ones to clean up their mess. He is the father figure who wants to sit in his recliner and watch the news, but gets up to fix the leaking faucet because the sound annoys him. In the hierarchy of the dorm, he is the balance. He validates the urge to do nothing, yet he enforces the standard of living. Why is he? Number 5. Because the laziness is palpable. It is heavy. It is a physical force field around him. If he didn't have to move, he wouldn't. If he could telekinetically wash dishes, he would. The sheer intensity of his desire to be horizontal earns him a spot on this list that J-Hope or Jin could never touch. He represents the relatable exhaustion we all feel. He is the patron saint of, I'll do it later, or never. But he is saved from the top spots because he is an adult who takes care of himself. He doesn't leave wet towels on the bed, mostly. He doesn't leave food to rot. He respects his space. He is the bridge between the order of the top and the impending chaos of the bottom. As we leave Suga napping in his studio, wrapped in a blanket, dreaming of being a rock, we must prepare ourselves. The safety net of strategic laziness is gone. The members remaining on this list do not have Suga's discipline. We are entering the danger zone of clutter, misplaced items, and hygiene habits that might make you question everything. So, tiptoe past the sleeping genius, do not wake him up, and let's move on to the members who truly embrace the chaos. Number 4. Jungkook. The golden maknae who sleeps through earthquakes, the laundry fairy trapped in a material labyrinth. We have crossed the equator of our investigation, leaving behind the realm of the Hyungs who maintain order, and crashing violently into the territory of the maknae line, where the rules of physics and cleanliness begin to warp in fascinating ways. Standing proudly at number 4, bridging the gap between hygiene obsession and absolute lifestyle chaos, is the prodigy, the main vocalist, the man who can do everything except keep his room organized. Jungkook. To place Jungkook on this list is to engage in a battle of contradictions that has baffled scientists and armies alike for over a decade. He is a walking paradox. How can a man be so obsessed with cleanliness that he owns 3 washing machines, yet lives in a room that other members have described as a warehouse or a dungeon of clutter? Let's unravel the mystery of the golden maknae's specific brand of clean chaos. First, we must address the laziness factor, because for Jungkook, laziness is not a lack of energy, it is a biological state of hibernation. When Jungkook is awake, he is the most active human on the planet, boxing, dancing, and running until he collapses. But when the switch flips, he enters a coma-like state that is legendary in the industry. We are talking about a man who is notoriously impossible to wake up. There is archival footage of the members pinching his nipples, screaming in his ears, and physically dragging him, only for Jungkook to remain completely unresponsive. This isn't just sleep, it is a defiance of the morning. In the early dorm days, he was the nightmare of the managers, the one who would delay the schedule simply because his consciousness refused to return to his body. Do you remember the iconic moment where he fell asleep under the kitchen table? Or behind the sofa? Or in the middle of a makeup session? His laziness is manifested in his ability to power down anywhere, anytime, embracing the floor as if it were a luxury mattress. It's endearing, yes, but for the people living with him, it is a logistical hurdle. Now, let's pivot to the dirtiness, or rather, the clutter aspect. This is where Jungkook earns his number 4 spot over the diligent Hyungs. While he is personally hygienic, obsessed with brushing his teeth, showering, and smelling like soft cotton, his living environment is a different story. His room is a legendary accumulation of stuff. Jungkook is a maximalist. He loves gadgets, he loves clothes, he loves exercise equipment, and he wants them all within arm's reach. Suga once famously exposed the state of Jungkook's room, implying that there was no path to walk, only piles of possessions to navigate. It is not dirty in the sense of rotting food, but it is messy in the sense of visual noise. He buys things he sees on the internet, mattresses, pillows, dietary supplements, cameras, and they accumulate in his space until it resembles a logistics center. In Bon Voyage, while J-Hope is folding clothes, Jungkook is often seen stuffing things into his suitcase with the brute force of a hydraulic press, relying on zippers to hold his reality together. This chaotic packing style is a direct reflection of his room. Everything is there, but good luck finding it. However, we cannot discuss Jungkook without mentioning his redemption arc: laundry. This is what keeps him from the top 3. Jungkook is the laundry fairy. He loves the smell of fabric softener, with a passion that borders on religious devotion. He will do laundry for hours. He will talk about laundry on live streams for millions of viewers. This specific obsession creates a bizarre cleanliness bubble around him. His clothes are clean, his sheets are clean, he smells amazing, but the floor beneath him might be invisible under a layer of tripods and boxing gloves. It is a sanitized mess. He represents the struggle of the modern youth, wanting to be clean but having too many hobbies and too little space to organize them. He is the roommate who will do your laundry perfectly but will also leave his dumbbells in the middle of the hallway for you to trip over at 3 a.m. He is the boy who ghosts his friends' text messages for days. Social laziness. But will spend 4 hours editing a video travelogue, creative diligence. He captures the essence of number 4 perfectly. He is not dirty like the ones coming next, nor is he lazy in spirit, but his execution of daily life is a whirlwind of clutter and heavy sleeping that would drive J-Hope to madness. He is the tipping point. The safety rails are off. If the golden maknae with all his perfection cannot keep his room tidy, what hope is there for the final 3? Prepare yourselves. Because as we leave Jungkook's scented, cluttered, sleepy paradise, we are about to enter the true danger zone of BTS dorm life. The next 3 members redefine the very concepts of mess and lethargy in ways that will make you laugh, cry, and question how they managed to look so good on stage. Number 3. Jimin. The angel with the devil's habits, the master of procrastination who weaponizes cuteness. We have now entered the podium positions, the medalists of mess, the elite echelon of energy conservation, and taking the bronze medal in this chaotic Olympics is the man who can charm his way out of a murder charge, let alone a dirty room, Park Jimin. To understand why the elegant, ethereal, modern dance-trained Jimin is ranked number 3, surpassing the clutter of Jungkook and the lethargy of Suga, we must peel back the layers of his mochi persona to reveal a hilarious truth. Jimin is the master of weaponized incompetence and the king of lateness. While he appears perfect on stage, his relationship with time and tidiness is a turbulent love affair that has tortured his roommates for years. Let's start with the laziness factor, which for Jimin manifests as a legendary inability to be on time. In the BTS universe, there is standard time, and then there is Jimin time. He is notoriously the last member to wake up, the last member to get ready, and the member most likely to be found rolling around on the floor refusing to move while the managers are frantically checking their watches. This isn't just being slow, it's a lifestyle choice. He moves at his own liquid pace. Remember the days of American hustle life? The boys would be ready to go, and Jimin would still be half asleep, brushing his teeth with his eyes closed, moving with the urgency of a sloth in a molasses swamp. His laziness is distinctive because it is often accompanied by whining and pouting. He doesn't just sleep, he clings to the bed. He negotiates for 5 more minutes with the tenacity of a union leader. Now, let's talk about the dirtiness, or, more accurately, the chaos of belongings. Jimin famously shared a room with J-Hope, the cleanest member for many years in their larger dorm. This pairing was not a coincidence, it was a containment strategy. The members likely realized that if Jimin roomed with RM or V, the room would implode into a black hole of clothes and trash. J-Hope has gone on record multiple times expressing his frustration with Jimin's habits. Jimin is the type of person who takes off a shirt and drops it exactly where he stands, leaving a trail of garments like breadcrumbs, leading to his bed. He is a dropper, not a folder. There have been hilarious fan compilations of J-Hope nagging Jimin to clean up his side of the room, to which Jimin responds with his signature eye smile and a giggle, effectively neutralizing the scolding. This is his superpower. He uses his cuteness to escape domestic labor. Why clean up when you can just be adorable until someone else does it or until J-Hope breaks down and does it for you? It is a Machiavellian level of laziness. Furthermore, Jimin has a history of losing things inside the dorm. He doesn't just misplace items, they vanish into the void of his clutter. Wallets, phones, accessories, they disappear into the piles of stuff he accumulates. Unlike Jungkook, whose clutter is gadget-based, or Suga, whose clutter is equipment-based, Jimin's clutter is purely lifestyle-based. It's clothes, it's bags, it's snacks. In Bon Voyage, while others are packing systematically, Jimin is often seen jamming things into his bag in a panic because he started packing 5 minutes before departure. Let's also not forget his sitting posture. Jimin has an aversion to chairs. If there is a sofa, he is on top of the backrest. If there is a chair, he is squatting on it. If there is a floor, he is puddling onto it. He seeks the path of least resistance to gravity at all times. His laziness is also social. He loves to latch onto other members. He is the koala of the group, hanging off Jin or Jungkook, effectively using them as transportation so he doesn't have to walk on his own power. It's brilliant, really. But the reason he is number 3 and not number 1 is that Jimin possesses a sense of shame. He knows he is messy. He knows he is late. He apologizes for it, usually while laughing. He has moments of cleaning fever, where he will suddenly decide to organize, usually spurred by a J-Hope lecture. He bridges the gap between the functional members and the absolute disasters because his messiness feels like a rebellious act against his perfectionist stage persona. He works so hard on his dance lines and his vocals that when he gets home, he simply disintegrates. He is the embodiment of the phrase, hot mess. He looks good, he smells good, he is obsessed with fragrances. Oddly enough, but his surroundings are a disaster zone that he navigates with a clumsy grace. He is the roommate who borrows your clothes without asking, leaves them on the floor, and then buys you a gift to make up for it. He is number 3 because his chaos is consistent, his lateness is chronic, and his reliance on J-Hope to survive domestic life proves that without a caretaker, Jimin might just be living in a nest of blankets and discarded sweaters. So, hats off to the Prince of Procrastination, the man who proves that you can be the most beautiful dancer in the world and still be a nightmare to live with. Number 2, V, the Renaissance Prince of Disorder, the fashionista who treats his floor like a walk-in closet. Ladies and gentlemen, secure your belongings and watch your step because we have arrived at the runner-up, the silver medalist in the Olympics of mess, the one and only Kim Taehyung, known to the world as V. Placing V at number 2 is a decision backed by a decade of testimony, visual evidence, and the exasperated sighs of his fellow members who have lived to tell the tale of his creative lifestyle. While V is celebrated globally for his immaculate fashion sense, his deep, soulful voice, and his ethereal visuals that seem carved by Michelangelo himself, the reality of his domestic existence is a hilarious contradiction that proves God is fair. He gave V everything, but he withheld the gene for tidiness. To understand the magnitude of V's placement here, we must first dissect his unique philosophy on laziness. V is not lazy in the traditional sense of being inactive. Rather, he operates on a completely different time zone that we might call Tae time. It is a zone where urgency does not exist. While the other members are rushing to shower or clean up after a meal, V is likely lying on a sofa, staring at the ceiling, listening to classical jazz, and contemplating the texture of a strawberry. He has mastered the art of the moody idle. In the Soup and Bon Voyage, we consistently saw V waking up late, often rivaling Jungkook and Jimin with a bedhead that defies gravity, and proceeding to move at a glacial pace. He is the type of person who will wake up, eat, and then immediately lie back down because the digestion process requires his full horizontal attention. He famously loves to cuddle and can be found clinging to other members, usually Jungkook or Jimin, like a koala, effectively outsourcing the effort of standing up. But the true reason he secures the number 2 spot, edging out the clutter of the maknae and the tardiness of Jimin, is his dirtiness, or more accurately, his artistic disregard for order. V is a maximizer of space, meaning he will use every square inch of a room to store his belongings, preferably on the floor. There is a legendary duality to V. He loves expensive, high-end designer clothes, Gucci, Celine, Louis Vuitton, but he treats them with the casual disrespect of a rebellious teenager. He is known to take off a jacket worth thousands of dollars and simply drop it. Not fold it, not hang it, but drop it. His room has been described by members as a minefield of clothing. He creates what can only be described as textile stalagmites rising from the floor. In the early days, RM and V were roommates, a pairing that can only be described as chemical warfare due to their shared inability to clean. V would famously leave his damp towels on the floor, his clothes in piles, and his snacks half-eaten on the bedside table. He is the snacker of the group who forgets to clear the evidence. Do you remember the dumpling incident? While it was about practice timing, it speaks to his stubbornness. That same stubbornness applies to cleaning. When told to clean, V is the member most likely to use his acting skills to pretend he didn't hear you, or he will give you that signature, "Taught a mic, face a blank," innocent stare until you give up and do it yourself. He weaponizes his charm to avoid chores. Furthermore, V's laziness extends to his dining habits. He is notorious for bringing food into the room and leaving the dishes there. It's not malice. It's just that in his mind, the meal is over, so the objects associated with the meal cease to exist. In his solo vlogs, we see glimpses of his chill lifestyle, driving for hours, listening to music, sitting in silence. This reflects his home life. He wants a sanctuary where he doesn't have to work. Cleaning is work. Therefore, V does not clean. It is a simple syllogism. Let's also talk about his role in the dishwashing games. V is statistically the member who tries the hardest to get out of dishwashing duty. He will bargain, he will play mind games, he will beg. Why? Because the sensory experience of touching wet, dirty food scraps is anathema to his artistic soul. He would rather write a symphony than scrub a pot. His messiness is also chaotic because he is impulsive. He will suddenly decide to paint, creating a new mess of acrylics and canvas in the middle of the living room, and then walk away when inspiration fades, leaving the cleanup for the cleaning fairies, J-Hope and Jin. He is the embodiment of the absent-minded professor archetype, but make it absent-minded supermodel. He loses things constantly, not because they are buried in trash, but because he simply sets them down in bizarre places like his phone in the fridge or his glasses on a plant and forgets them. His chaos is whimsical. It makes you laugh. But if you had to live with him, if you had to navigate the labyrinth of discarded Gucci loafers, half-drunk water bottles, and scattered art supplies, it would be a test of sanity. He is number 2 because, unlike Jimin, who feels shame, or Jungkook, who tries to do laundry, V seems to have accepted his nature. He is comfortable in the chaos. He thrives in the entropy. He is the Prince of Pixies, the Duke of Disorder, and he looks absolutely stunning while ruining the feng shui of the dorm. He sets the bar incredibly high for the final spot. If V, with his floordrobes and his refusal to wash dishes, is only number 2, then who, pray tell, is the monster sitting at number 1? Who could possibly be messier, lazier, and more destructive than Kim Tae-young? The answer is coming, and it involves a man whose very nickname is a warning sign to furniture everywhere. Number 1, RM. The god of destruction, who cannot control his own limbs, the genius leader whose room is a hazard zone of broken dreams. We have reached the end of the line, the zenith of our list, and sitting alone on the throne of chaos, wearing a crown likely held together by duct tape because he broke it 5 minutes ago, is the leader of BTS, Kim Namjoon, the one and only RM. Placing RM at number 1 is not an opinion. It is a scientific fact backed by over a decade of forensic evidence, witness testimonies, and video documentation of destruction. While J-Hope cleans with the precision of a surgeon, RM destroys with the accidental grace of a giant toddler in a china shop. To understand why he is the dirtiest and laziest, or perhaps the most domestically doomed member, we must first address the elephant in the room, his legendary nickname, the God of Destruction. This isn't a cute moniker given by fans, it is a distress signal used by his members. RM possesses a terrifying ability to dismantle physical objects simply by being in their vicinity. In the context of a dorm, this translates to a living environment that is constantly in a state of disrepair. He breaks bunk bed ladders, he rips shirt buttons off just by breathing, he shatters figurines, and he snaps doorknobs. How can one maintain a clean and tidy room when the very act of cleaning might result in the vacuum cleaner exploding in his hands? There is a famous story from their early rookie days where the members described the room shared by RM and V as a disaster zone that required a hazmat suit to enter. But while V's mess was artistic, RM's mess was existential. He is the king of accumulation. He loves books, he loves art figures, he loves clothes, and he loves wood carving, but he lacks the spatial awareness to organize them. His room is often described as a labyrinth of intellect and debris. Piles of books tower precariously next to piles of clothes that he stepped out of and forgot to pick up. But the true reason he hits number one is the sheer scale of his lost and found saga. RM does not just lose things, he erases them from existence. He famously lost his passport on Bon Voyage, forcing him to return home early, the ultimate act of chaotic laziness. He has lost 33 plus pairs of AirPods, a statistic that is both hilarious and financially horrifying. And he constantly misplaces his wallet, phone, and dignity. This forgetfulness creates a messy environment because he is constantly turning his room upside down, looking for the things he lost, creating a secondary layer of chaos on top of the original mess. Now, let's talk about laziness. RM's laziness is unique because it stems from a brain that is too busy thinking about the complexities of the universe to worry about the mundane reality of a dirty sock. He is the type of person who will walk past a mess for weeks because he simply doesn't see it. His mind is in the galaxy, while his body is in a pigsty. In the Soup, we watched him attempt to cook or clean, and it was like watching a suspense thriller. The members would rush to stop him, shouting, "Don't touch that," because his help usually results in more work for everyone else. This has created a dynamic where he is effectively banned from domestic labor for the safety of the group. Is there a greater form of laziness than being so bad at chores that you are exempted from them forever? It is the ultimate victory. He relies heavily on the other members to navigate the physical world. He needs Jungkook to fix things, Jin to cook for him, and J-Hope to remind him to zip his bag. Without them, RM would be a wandering philosopher in tattered clothes, probably locked out of his own house. Let's dig deeper into the snoring aspect. In the early days, RM's snoring was described as an earthquake, a sonic weapon that kept the other members awake. This adds an auditory layer to his chaotic presence. He sleeps like a log, often with his mouth wide open, oblivious to the world, while his roommates suffer. His laziness is also seen in his fashion choices at home. While he looks dapper in airports, at home he is the king of greasy hair and sweatpants. He has admitted to going days without washing his hair if he doesn't have a schedule, embracing the natural oils of the human scalp. The dichotomy is what makes him. Number one, you see him at the United Nations, speaking eloquent English, looking like the president of the world. Then you cut to footage of him in the dorm, tripping over his own feet, spilling coffee on his laptop, and eating instant noodles directly from the pot because he couldn't find a bowl in the mess he created. He is the ultimate gap mo, the charm of a stark contradiction. He proves that you can be a genius and a fool simultaneously. He is the leader, yet he is the baby who needs the most care. The other members pick up his trash, they find his phone, they tie his shoelaces. He is the storm center of BTS. While V might be messy on purpose, and Jimin might be messy due to procrastination, RM is messy because the universe cannot contain his power, and his room pays the price. He is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the dirty and lazy list, not out of malice, but out of pure, unadulterated, clumsy chaos. He is the god of destruction, and we wouldn't have him any other way as long as we don't have to share a room with him. And so, the list is complete. From the pristine J-Hope to the catastrophic RM, we have mapped the ecosystem of the world's biggest boy band, proving that behind the glamour, they are just 7 distinct, hilarious, and wonderfully messy human beings.